Hey, folks, John Duffin here, Duffin Media, with my man, superstar, got motivation, guru Chad Levine, and we're back here with another episode of Deep Divin. Welcome back to the show. And, buddy, great to get to do this with you again.
Yeah, man. It just resonates with me every time we do these things. And it's funny, what people don't realize is backstage, you and I have conversations and we talk about how important it is for us to be doing these things, not just for content and not just for people out there, but for ourselves. So
Yeah. I mean, listen, everybody needs motivation and everybody can benefit from the sense of clear, concise direction, which is always our intention on the show, not to mention hot fashion tips and that line with it and pop culture and everything else we can slam into there too. But
let me tell you the disclaimer. Anything I tell you about fashion,
come on, man.
If I showed you what I used to look like before I was married to now, like, all of the credit goes to my wife.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, shout out and major shout out to Amy, by the way. But also, I'm digging your new studio. It looks hot, looks edgy. Looks very
right on the bricks. See, like my arms go into the bricks.
You must be working out.
It's like a backstroke into the bricks, baby.
Dude, that's that upper body strength that you're obviously spending a lot of time either swimming or whatever, but it looks good on you. Hey, and folks, what we get to do as a reminder is the whole purpose and point of the show is, again, that sense of clear, motivating, structured, concise tips that you can work with so that you can, in essence, get instant gratification. The sense that you try this, you use this, and we are extremely confident, based on actual experience, that we can move the needle forward for you. It's what, like I said, it's a privilege to get to do, and we have a fun episode.
And I want to cut you off there. I was at a networking meeting last night, right?
Right.
And people asked me, what do you do? Mm-hmm. And I said, what's the quickest way for me to get a visceral response out of a crowd?
Oh,
so I literally, this was my thing, and I'm only saying that, and I cut you off.
No, I'm good.
It was directly in line with what you said. I was like, I help people walk on water and run through fire.
Jeez. So who wouldn't want to work with somebody who will help you walk on water?
In this case, break through bricks. Boom.
Superstar, superhero strength, straight out of Marvel Comics. That's what we get to do. What is it again? Oh, walk on water and walk through fire. That part is beautiful. Folks, you can hold us to the fire today when you're watching these clips and the episode in full. And we always recommend that, by the way. By all means, you're seeing us pepper you with the clips, which is fun because you can literally, in less than a minute, smarten up a little bit, take something practical to your business, corporate organizations, or your clients, or your audience. But also make certain, too, that you're getting the full episode, because you can't get this kind of fun in a 59-second clip. So,
Nope.
So we make it clear, concise. And again, we got a great example today as to what you can do to literally move the needle forward each and every time. Chad had a specific example that we get to bring to life today. Chad, you want to touch on that first?
Yeah, I mean, I think I should tell the story. I think
you should.
Context, right? So I live, for those that don't know or know where John and I are geographically, I live in a South Jersey town. South Jersey is just over the bridge from Philadelphia. Some would even say, and I agree, when it comes to traffic, it's quicker to get from South Jersey to downtown than it is to get across town.
See, this is the thing, and I shake my head because it's always like I said something. They want to call that like the Philadelphia suburbs. If you're from and it so isn't. But that's all right. It's still great. I fell into that trap in a relationship, and I want no comment on anything. But it's still great on its own. So I digress. Anyway, go ahead.
So I'm in South Jersey, right, and I do my normal course. It's a standard Wednesday morning. I go into Starbucks, thinking nothing, going through my routine. And the gentleman says, "What was your order?" And I ordered a grande shaken iced espresso, which, side note, is my new fuel. It is phenomenal. I highly recommend. I had first one in the PHL airport and was so happy. It was like when you ever see Kicking and Screaming with Will Ferrell?
The answer is yes.
So when he first drinks coffee,
Mm-hmm.
it was like an enlightening experience. Yeah,
That's the reaction.
100%. Yeah.
One more time before you continue. What's the name of the drink again?
It is a shaken iced espresso.
Okay, I'm in. Shaken, folks. This is why you're paying attention. Right? So anyway, go ahead.
We don't just give you tips, okay?
No, anybody can do that.
To transfer your mind. We give you suggestions on supplements.
Anybody can just throw random tips. We, in the meanwhile, are really strategic in regards to supplements. Testosterone and shaken, never mind. Anyway, go ahead.
So I go and I order it, and I said, "Yep, can I have a grande ice shaken espresso?" And the normal course is they take the order, they ask for the money, and then what do? Do you know?
Run you to the other end of the counter and
no,
out
they
names.
ask you for your name. They ask you for your name. Yep. So before I even get my name out, he says, "Okay," and it's Chad, right? Mm-hmm. And I stopped. So here is a person, for lack of a better term, in terms of the chain of the hierarchy, forward customer-facing, customer service-oriented. Now, I get that that's part of the training. However, okay, it was my first time, John. It was my first time at a Starbucks, big corporate type of an environment with this individual who I don't see that often. I'm honest with you, maybe once, twice a week, maybe, usually once, right? I'm not a frequent flyer. There are people that are there.
I'm not either, but I got you. Right, sure.
And this is not to take away from the independent coffee shops because they're phenomenal. I love them. I like supporting my community. But anyway, he works in a corporate chain. For lack of a better term, he's on the lower end of it, right? I mean, being honest, he's the forward-facing customer. But he's been up since 6 a.m. He's probably met all kinds of people. He's probably tired. All these other things, and he remembered my name. Why did that take me back? It took me back because he took a moment that was unexpected, a moment where I was not expecting it at all, to then say, "Hey, I pay attention to detail. I'm going to up my game, and I'm going to make you feel at a certain level." Him doing that made me more loyal to that company, made me more loyal to that brand, made me more loyal to that store. And his incentive may be a variety of things, but for me, it rung true that no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are from a professional perspective, you should always take the chance to be great. Never miss a moment to be great.
Boom. Now, here's a question right off the bat in terms of that. You explained what the benefits are, but my question to you directly is, why did that matter to you, do you think? Why?
Because it was an unexpected time. That's why. Because when you think about it, you'll have big meetings, right? Maybe it's a sales, something you've been working on for a while. Maybe it's a client. Maybe it's someone you're getting a lead. Whatever. You know, I always equate it to sales because that's what you and I do. We do sales.
Sure,
people, 100%. Right? And for us, there are moments that you work towards, and they're calculated, scheduled, and predicted. This was uncalculated, unscheduled, and unpredicted.
But yet again, that unscheduled, unpredicted. What do you remember how it felt when it was like that sense of, hey, it's Chad, right?
I literally said to him, "My man," and I was like, "Do I give him an extra tip? Do I write up a positive review? Like, how do I return the favor?" And I didn't do it. And it's on my mind because I am going to do it. I am going to return, and I'm going to return the favor because when in our business, in our line of work, reviews and referrals and testimonials in any profession, but especially in our line of work, it's huge. It's our lifeblood, right? And this individual which I don't think he wanted, by the way. It wasn't a selfish, narcissistic,
Right.
self-serving moment. It really wasn't. And
Mhm.
to him, it may be no big deal at all. But he didn't know who he was talking to, which is the guy
Mhm.
who analyzes and goes deep into everything. So,
Yeah. The branding guru standing right in front of. But what is to me really significant is number one, your sense of appreciation, the sense that
yeah,
you get it,
yeah,
uh, and two, that these things do resonate. And
yeah,
so, one of the very first things, folks, is that you don't have to overthink this stuff.
yeah,
That like this sense of never missing a moment to be great, that sounds like a pressure situation. And the simple matter that this person, and not simple, but simple matter of remembering someone's name
yeah,
in a coffee shop generated all of those feelings, which for me, so imagine how you can up the ante if you are finding these moments to be great
yep,
at every turn, at
yep,
every turn.
yep.
And I'm a big believer in simplifying. You may laugh, but because backstage we're always talking about dumbing it down, what I say. But the fact is, but in the simplifying of that sense of you don't have to kill yourself to stand out. That I know from direct experience. I can
Well,
virtually
John, let's equate this to bigger picture, right?
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
let's go really, really big.
sure.
The biggest deals and sales that
Hmm.
ever happen across any industry.
Hmm.
I don't care if you're in private equity. I don't care if you're selling on Wall Street. I
Right.
don't care if you're in wealth management. I don't care if you're in car sales, home sales, bond sales, stock sales, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What is the number one reason a sale converts? The number one.
You hear the cliche, no like trust, no like trust,
Boom,
no like trust.
boom.
It's always that.
It is the number one reason,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Some people have it instinctually. Some people have to learn it.
Hmm.
And for the people that have to learn it, you practice it and you make it a part of your everyday,
Right.
right? For the people that have it instinctually, they have a distinct advantage
Hmm.
because they know when to do it and they know how to attract people based off a development of a true relationship. And that small microcosm, that little piece
Hmm.
of him doing it, and I'm going to take a guess, it was instinctual. That was my guess.
Right.
He's got the making of something greater and higher level.
So if you're in a leadership role
Uh-huh.
and you've got somebody in your organization, and let's go with what you just said, this
Yep.
was instinctual.
Yep.
This is some person. This is really important. Why the acknowledgement, if I heard you correctly, you're like, hey, you acknowledge by saying my man, which when you
Right.
say that to me, actually makes it sounds weird, makes my heart melt. That, you
Yep.
know, that it's like it matters. It
That
matters.
was my acknowledgement. That was.
That's the acknowledgement.
Yep.
And you've shared that with me. It always makes me feel like $1,000,000 being on
Yep.
the other end of that. And
Yep.
so the acknowledgement is a big deal.
Yep.
So don't let those moments when someone else is being great just sail away. You know,
Well,
you
and I think there's something even more important. You
right.
never know who you're talking to or who's
Oh,
going to pay
ever,
attention. Because
ever.
I'm going to tell you the truth. I would go in and recruit that guy for a job.
Exactly. Oh, that those to me are here's what you were talking about, that sense that people having an inherent advantage.
Yep.
That advantage is a responsibility. So my thought is like the steps, right? Acknowledge the person, and then you may give them an opportunity.
Yeah.
It doesn't close the deal that they just are nice people,
Yep.
right? Then you take it and put the strategy, systems, tactical, all that sort of stuff,
Yep.
and reward that. To me, that's what will elevate anybody. But if you begin with it, you
Yep.
definitely have an inherent advantage. I'll give you an example. Like, so I remember that in the field that I was in, advertising sales,
Yep.
digital now, like digital streaming, television, old school TV, right? Um, It was really hard when I was breaking in to break in. I had family connections.
Yep.
And I say that because what was often said was, oh, well, this is, a very complex field. And, and I guess that was true. I'm laughing because I finally break in and at least for me, I'm not saying anything about myself other than it wasn't complex for me. It
Yep.
just felt like, okay, I can learn this in a week. So folks, your systems, strategies, your listing training, your buyer's education, these things, people can learn this stuff.
Yeah.
So they just can.
Yep.
So when you have somebody who leads with understanding that sense of greatness
Yep.
is a big damn deal.
Right.
It's like, okay, acknowledge it, reward it. You talked about recruiting, go do it. Wouldn't you want those people in your organization? At 100%. Give them an opportunity,
And that's the other thing, that no matter what position you're in currently,
right.
If you're working in the Starbucks at the front counter, we know that's not your dream job. Like, we get it, obviously. But there's no this is why you should take a different approach mentally, because you're like, oh, screw this. I'm in this dead end job. And where am I going with
I ain't
this?
staying here.
Blah, blah, blah. You never know who's watching. You can always learn from the opportunity. But also, if you master it and do it really, really well, you'll either vertically excel in that company or you'll horizontally move to another situation. Right.
Yeah,
and that's why it's important for you to push yourself, even when you don't see why. Right? Because that will make you stronger. It'll make you better. And if they aren't paying attention to it,
somebody else will.
Somebody else will.
So for me, I got you. And that to me just elevates my energy. Like, I'm a big believer. Look, I understand tactical and I've lived that and I preach it. And I also understand energy.
Yep.
Energy is that simple. You do not have to get woo-woo about this. It's like somebody acknowledges your presence and you're not expecting it. That unexpected part, you're like, oh. So amazing to me that this acknowledgement. Tell me again, how many days ago did that happen?
3.
Okay. 3 full days.
Yeah.
And it's still on your mind.
Yep. It's on my mind because it resonates when I am coaching people, right? And we're having the conversation of, well, why should I feel motivated in the situation I'm in, right? And the reality is it's your decision. It's either a life sentence or it's a temporary stepping stone.
Right. And I love the way you position that. And the truth is, it just is. That there's no third or fourth or fifth option. And so I would say, folks, when I'm working with people, when I'm dealing with people, like whether it was selling directly, whether it was dealing with clients on an individual basis, leading sales organizations, or speaking on stages, it's important that I feed off of energy.
Yeah.
And I've learned, so does everybody else.
Yeah.
So does everybody else. So it's not just a happy, positive attitude. It's not overthinking things like I've got to come up with something. I have to. Basic human courtesy. Basic sense of putting yourself a little bit above and beyond with everything that's going on right now in terms of overall, in terms of the time of year. Not quite spring yet in our neck of the woods, but it's like just everything that feels dark and weird. That stuff jumps.
Yeah.
Very specifically, what can you do?
And
remember Dad's name the next time he's at Starbucks? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So what can you do?
Yeah, and that's the other thing, John. It's like, what's the learning experience? The learning experience is he exemplified exactly what you should do.
That's it.
Find a way to personally connect with people, no matter what industry you're in. If you and they always say it, you find your opportunity to speak and you listen first. Right?
Oh my God!
If you don't do that and you lead with, "Here's who I am and here's what I do," you will literally have no idea. it falls on deaf ears if they're not willing or ready to listen. Period.
Imagine if that same person started prattling on about what they want to do
Yep.
for their career path.
And it's so often people will walk through the door. Here's who I am. Here's where I'm from. Here's what we offer. It's so amazing. Blah, 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 blah. And when they start talking, I'm like, boop.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Or in LinkedIn, if you're using social media and somebody's going to send you a 14 paragraph DM about whatever, and I only say whatever because I never read them. So I don't know what the hell they're offering me. And so think about these things. The listen part that you just said to me is magic. Is magic, because that person clearly listened at least once to think, oh, that guy's name is Chad.
Yep.
He's not doing a deep dive into your Google profile, or you know what I mean?
But the reality of it is, and this is the biggest takeaway, right?
Yeah.
People that have it instinctually, they don't really have to do much because it's ingrained. But people that, what's that?
Don't let that secret out. Make it seem really complex and difficult. It's so true. Go ahead. Yeah. So damn true.
So when you're hiring talent,
right,
you wanna hire the people that have it instinctually, right? Yeah. But at the same time, can it be learned? And the answer is yes.
100%.
And it can be learned through practice. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, if you make it a part of your everyday verbiage, body language, the way you do things, it will be ingrained. Once it's ingrained, it becomes instinctual.
I can't tell you how many times, and I've been with other people often in these so many times, where that what you just said gets instantly acknowledged.
Yeah.
Instantly. Like magic. I'm using the same choice of words, like magic. And so what you said is so true. It is not that hard. In fact, it is really easy to do.
Yep.
If you simply did the following, which is do a little bit of homework. Next time you're speaking with someone, if it's somebody you've never spoken to before, let's pretend, or someone you've spoken to a number of times, that there's always an element of adding something personal, unique, and the instinctual part is the way that somebody can weave it into a conversation rather than bludgeon somebody with reading your LinkedIn profile out loud to you, where it just feels weird. So it's not that hard. I've been told I get to do that. Chad, you do that. I'll never forget, by the way, on a personal, I'll never forget the first time I met you. Yeah. I'll never forget it. And folks, it was in an outdoor setting for an event that we were doing. And it's funny because I was thinking not just of you, but I was also thinking of Maria, like another just complete rock star. Right. Yep. And it was the reason we were there. And I just watched Chad command a room, right? And there was nothing overly complicated. There was no offense. Then it wasn't, but there's a magic to just being able to get somebody to feel a little more comfortable and included and acknowledged, and things change, always for the better when you do
and
that.
You want to know the truth, John? There are certain elements of connecting and relationships and being social that are instinctual to me.
Yeah, sure.
Then there are others that I do consciously train my brain to think about. I really do. And I do that for a reason, because you never miss an opportunity to, when we say be great, it's really never miss an opportunity to be remembered. It's never miss an opportunity to connect, right? And it's also know when to not overdo it. I was at a networking event last night. This realtor to me was very off-putting.
Also, not who. I'm saying
if she watches this, that'll be the end of this. But
we'll just treat it like training. Treat it like a sales
you can just tell, her whole MO was, well, I'll answer my phone when I want to answer my phone. And if someone wants to call me when I'm busy, that's not the type of client I want. And it was just negative, like all these push. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know what? In a traditional situation, the person that I should be putting the time into is the realtor, right, in the room. But guess what? I was so taken back by what she was saying, I didn't even go up and talk to her.
Right? It's
And I
amazing.
spent time with the people that I connected more with because I'm going to be completely honest with you. It would have been a waste of my time. I could tell her guard was way up, way up. So my whole point in saying that is when we say never miss an opportunity to be great, when you're in your cubicle and you're working by yourself, perform at a high level for your benefit. There's always a benefit for you doing well, regardless if it's acknowledged or not, right?
100%.
But also understand you may not get the response you want. You may not. You may put it out there and someone will be like, whatever. But that shouldn't discourage you and that shouldn't stop you. But you should understand there's a time and a place always.
These moments, and just as they're memorable in a positive way, are memorable in a negative way too, and you just described it.
Yep.
So therefore, this person's brand becomes like obviously not optimal. Whereas you're gonna
well, John, I'm gonna tell you, John, you want to hear the funny part?
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. I just thought it in my mind. And then everyone else in other professions that aren't even really, they're like, how about her, what she said?
So,
and I'm like, oh boy.
So, folks, when you realize that it doesn't take much, I mean, those cliches, you never get a second chance, but right, that they're based in reality. So you gave an example. I won't give an equal. I don't want to give another. I don't. For me, don't want to like try to play competition with you. But I'm telling you, this very similarly happened. And the person that I'm referring to in Washington D.C., they could have been a great person, but you just use the words. If your guard is up, and here's examples that I have seen where someone's guard is up. Reasons why that are all teachable and correctable. Number one, you're not prepared to walk in the room. You're not confident, so somebody can give you that boost of confidence. You don't have the information, and you think impressing somebody by blathering out all your resources impresses nobody.
And I was actually more taking it from the angle of not what they were doing wrong, but like I'm not going to go up there and be like, "Oh, hey, here's what I do," and she would have been like,
"That's it." So why waste your time? But folks realize this: everyone is dealing with something, and so for you to crack through. You might be distracted. You got a million things going on, but some barista literally just says, "Oh, hey, it's chat," right? And everything changes. So what are the steps that you can take? And that's, like I said, for me, do your homework whenever possible. If you have a moment to prepare, do so. But really, just listen to people.
Yep.
Give them a chance. Just listen to people. You know what I mean? It's like there is that magic. If you're solving problems, solve a problem that actually matters to them. I get to preach for me on hyper authenticity and the secret. That's what I was laughing about. Don't tell anybody these deep, heavy secrets. You know what I mean? It's like none of them are. They're all doable and they're all teachable. But for me, that sense of the hyper authenticity is the magic that occurs when it's not just you being authentic, it's the other person is willing to be authentic too in front of you. That's the magic. So somebody says, "Oh, hey, it's Chad," right? Your guard instantly drops.
Yep.
The other person's, I mean. And then they are willing to actually talk to you in reality. And you want to move a needle forward. You want to be unique. You always want to be like, tell me the expression one more time.
Do you know what I was hoping the reward could be? I wish at that point I was undercover boss.
Yeah, right.
I wish I was like the CEO of Starbucks and be like, "Well, you don't realize this, but because of your exemplary service, here's $100,000 and you're now
and your own franchise, right? And you're teaching people. See, that's it. So just think of the
bam, you get a car. You get a car.
Still a personal favorite episode of mine. I didn't get the car Oprah yet. I'm still holding off. But in the meantime, I've gotten a lot. I'm going to tell you, man, I think these reminders, this is my gratitude for getting the chance to be here, are these reminders that it's like, so what can I do to elevate my game? What can I do to make myself better? What can I do if I feel like I've hit a wall or whatever, that it's like, okay, I can simply take the time to listen to the next person I'm speaking with, and feed into their energy so that they give you a sense of, you're cool. I like you. You know what I mean? So tell me what you got going on. And then you can rattle off all your capabilities.
And you want to know something, John? I'm going to cap this episode because I know we limit ourselves because we don't want the message to get so diluted. But I'm going to cap this episode off in a way to bring this full circle, right?
Right.
And here's what I would say. He didn't, whether he realized it or not, right? He did something very, very powerful in a very quick, brief interaction. And the lesson is, this is the reason why you should have a coach. And let me explain why. Right? The reason you should have a coach is because no matter what profession you're in, you can always be looking for opportunities to grow. Mm-hmm. And the way to do that is to take advantage of every possible moment. Mm-hmm. And how do you take advantage? You be prepared. And how do you get prepared? You find people like us that can turn you into networking warriors, so that it is so ingrained in who you are that you will not miss the moment.
And that, to me, is the magic. Honest to God, beautifully said. Hey, folks, you've just watched and embraced and experienced another episode of Deep Diving. Our man,
along,
right? Our man, top motivation, superstar coach, Chad Levine, John Duffin here, helping to remind you that being great, you got it in you. You got it in you, folks. So that's why, like I said, here's why we're here to help. So thrilled that we get a chance to do this again. Dude, this was this felt exceptionally good to me. So thank you.
Listen, every time we end and it feels like we made good content, that's all we care about, right?
Boom. Folks, John Duffin here, Duffin Coaching, Duffin Media, Chad Levine, my man. Have a great rest of the day, folks. Be well. We will talk soon.
Peace.